what is meditation? Like, let's start there for the people that are new, right? What is meditation? Essentially, meditation is a technique for familiarizing yourself with something, right? Really like choosing what you want to familiarize your mind with, right? And familiarization is a really important component of meditation and what it does. And we can kind of use some examples of things we're familiar with now to see how important familiarization actually is in our lives, right? So maybe like riding a bike or driving a car, like things that you just kind of do now and you don't think about, right? Steve in Minnesota, cold there, huh? Getting cold here too in Colorado. So like driving a car or riding a bike is a good example, right? You can kind of just like do it. You don't have to really think about it, right? Because your mind is very familiar with driving, right? The feeling of driving, the parts of the car, but it wasn't always like that. There was a time where driving required a massive amount of attention and like, you're like, oh my God, okay, here's the steering wheel and the gas, and you better figure out which one's the gas and the brake. And, like all these things that we weren't familiar with, right? It was difficult, right? But now it's easier, right? It might not be easy, but it's easier because we're familiar with it. So we can become familiar with anything. And meditation is about becoming familiar with some of, like feelings and emotions, right? That we want to get better at. So maybe being patient, right? You ever wonder why it's so easy to get angry? You can be having the best day ever, and somebody says one thing to you and you're like a light switch angry, because we're very familiar with anger, right? We're not as familiar with patience. We have to really try to be patient. We don't really have to try to be angry. It like just happens, and it's all about familiarization. So we want to use meditation to familiarize our mind with positive things like patience, kindness, gratitude. We looked at gratitude last week. We'll talk a little bit more about it here, right? All these things, even just relaxation, which may be why you're here in the first place, learning how to meditate so you can relax and de-stress. Oh, Justin's in Montreal. I bet it is colder there. So that's kind of an overview of what meditation can do, right? It can help familiarize our mind with things, right? But before we can kind of like do that, right, we have to learn how to relax our mind, because when you're trying to become familiar with something, it's not easy to do that if your mind is all over the place, right? Blah, 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 right? It's a lot easier to become familiar with something if you're like totally focused, right? You're totally focused on driving or blah, blah, blah. You're not thinking about a million things. You're like plugged in, right? So we got to plug in to kind of our own mind a little bit. And so the way we're going to do that, the way we're going to start to relax our mind is through a method called single-pointed concentration. Very fancy, right? All it means is focusing on one thing, right? Focusing on one thing so exclusively that all the other like thoughts that are kind of bouncing around in our head, they're going to start to fade away a little bit. And we're going to be left with a more calm mind, more still. Maybe not perfectly, but more calm, right? If you think about like a glass of water, right? Think about a glass of water, very clear. Right? I was going to hold up my water, but it's actually a can of seltzer, so that's not going to help. Nice clear water, beautiful, unbelievable. And then we toss a bunch of dirt in there, right, and mix it up. We'd say, oh, the water is dirty, right? But the water is not dirty. Water is clear, right? Dirt is dirty. And so, like, if we could separate the dirt from the water would become clear again. That's like our mind. Our mind is normally, by default, very clear, very calm, very reasonable, very peaceful, right? But all of the anxieties and bombardment of thoughts, worries, stress that are constantly bouncing around our head, it's like dirt getting thrown into our mind cup thing, right? And it's making the water dirty. It's making our mind not clear, not calm, right? So we have to take some time to like separate, to create some distance between the like thoughts, right, and ourselves, right? Create some space there. Kind of separate the dirt and the water, so to speak, right? I usually use like another analogy, but I feel people are so bored that I'm trying to find different analogies to use. you've kind of experienced this, I would say. I would venture to bet you have. If you've ever felt like in the zone, right, at work or exercising or stuff, right, you lose track of time, right? You're so plugged in, you lose track of time. You don't hear people calling your name. Maybe your knee normally hurts, but now you forget about your knee hurting. Like, it's almost like those things aren't there anymore because we're so focused on something, right? So we're going to do that intentionally, and we're going to use our breath, right? We're going to do single-pointed concentration on our breath, right? And we use our breath, breathing meditation, you've probably heard of this. We use our breath for a very good reason. It's always with us, right? It's one of the things that is always with us. Like, if we're still around here, we always have our breath. So if you get good at using your breath as a method of relaxation, like a focal point for relaxation, well, then you can kind of do this wherever, whenever, right? We don't need these perfect conditions. We don't need absolute silence. We don't need to kind of leave the world behind and retreat to a mountain or a cave or whatever we think that we need to do to like become calm. All we need is our breath and just a little bit of patience and effort, right? To kind of practice this, to become familiar with doing this, with meditating, right? The meditation is not like relaxing us. Meditation is teaching us to become familiar with the notion that our mind is actually relaxed and we can get there, right? Using my breath to wait in the doctor's office. What a great method of using this, Crystal. Excellent. Crystal's a vet. Felicia, hello, welcome. Okay, so we're going to do that now. We're going to do a little breathing meditation. Okay, I'll guide it. It is pretty simple. Like, from an instructional standpoint, it's pretty simple. Execution might be challenging because this is new for you, if you are new. But instructionally, you're just going to focus on your breath, right? And then when you realize that you're not focused on your breath, it's kind of drifted off to whatever it's thinking about there. You'll be like, no, bring her back. Yeah, bring it back to focusing on your breath. And do that over and over again, right? For like 5 minutes. That's it. I like today's topic. Looking forward to this. Great. This is another one of my favorite topics, so I'm glad to be teaching it. Glad you're excited. All right, let's do a little breathing meditation. Then we're going to get into the topic of ways we can help others through giving, different methods of giving. Okay. All right, so sit comfortably. If you're laying down, that's also fine. Just be comfortable. Doesn't matter, right? That's the number one goal here, is just be in a position that is comfortable for you. We don't want to be worrying about like, or back hurting or whatever. So just get comfy, okay? And you can go ahead and close your eyes and follow along with what I'm saying. I'm going to guide us through about a 5-minute breathing meditation, okay? So whenever we start a meditation, first check in with yourself. How are you feeling right now, in this moment? Tired, energetic, happy, sad, neutral, whatever it is, it does not matter. All that matters is you notice. Begin to notice what your mind is doing. This is called mindfulness. Maybe you've heard of that word before. Mindfulness is being aware of what your mind is doing moment to moment for the purpose of being able to react in a skillful way to how your mind is feeling. So just notice how you're feeling in this moment. Take note of it. And having checked in, you can now turn your full attention to your breathing in and out of your nose. Very gently, very naturally, in and out. You do not need to take big, deep breaths or forcefully exhale, or just breathing normally in and out. See if you can follow your breath for the full inhale and then for the full exhale. breathing in and out, allowing yourself to relax, allowing yourself to enjoy sitting here, enjoy breathing in and out very gently, very naturally. Maybe at some point you notice that your attention has drifted. Maybe it's thinking about something that happened earlier, something coming up later. Whenever that happens, just gently guide your attention back to your breath, back to following your full breath in and following your full breath out. Breathing in and out very gently, very naturally. Keep bringing your attention back to your breath whenever it drifts. This is meditation. You are meditating. You are training your mind to relax, to be calm, to be peaceful, to access your default state of peacefulness. How wonderful. So just continue breathing in and out very gently through your nose for a little while longer. Okay, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. How did that go? Maybe it was your first time. How did it go? Any first timers? Always love to hear how it went for first timers. Everyone has a very different experience meditating. But even if it was difficult, that's to be expected. I don't know about you. I don't know how many times you're sitting down doing what we just did throughout the day. Probably never. And so, because you're not doing it very often, it is very unfamiliar to you. And so it takes a lot of concentration. It takes a lot of effort. But just like driving, just like riding a bike, right? Through practice, this will become more familiar to you, right? You'll be able to focus on your breathing more easily, right? You'll be able to kind of settle in more easily. You'll start to clear away some of the dirt in that cup of water more easily, right? And you'll start to feel yourself relaxing a little bit, right? And that's a very important thing to notice, that you're able to do this, because if you can relax even a little bit by doing this, well, you can build upon that. You could do it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, right? Cow Ether, what a great name. First time here, lots of distractions from neighbors making noise and light in the room. It's a very common complaint, problem, distraction, noise, right? So a lot of times when we start meditating, we think we need to have perfect quiet. right? And it is helpful to have you don't want to be like try not to be like the middle of Times Square in New York meditating when you're just starting, right? But you're probably not going to be able to find perfect quiet very often. It's just not like part of our life easily, right? And so when we're trying to learn meditation and then make use of it in a practical way, we're sometimes going to have to do it when there is noise, right? So when we're starting, if you can find a place that's relatively quiet, that's great, right? But it's good to remind yourself that if you're getting distracted by sounds and stuff, that's okay, right? It's okay to kind of try to practice through that, even if it's difficult, because that's probably when you're going to need to make use of this, right? When there are distractions, when there's a lot of noise, either outside or even like kind of mental noise, like your mind's really busy, right? But that's a very common thing to come across. Kristen, first time, very relaxing. Glad to hear it. I needed that. I cheated and meditated on a piece of dark chocolate melting in my mouth. That's fine. Honestly, traditionally we use our breath because it's always with us, right? You don't want to get addicted to meditating on dark chocolate, and then you're like trying to go get dark chocolate. But it's like fine. Like using visualizations is fine as long as you're like focused on something, right? Focused on something and letting yourself kind of chill, relax. It went great. Made me remember when you relaxed before hypnosis. Yes, very similar, Justin. Cool. My shoulders and backs feel really relaxed. Okay, great. That's a great takeaway. That was not how it was before, and then you did that, and you didn't really do anything. You kind of just like focused on your breathing. You didn't like, I don't know, go get some like amazing massage or anything. You just were here, and you were able to relax parts of your body, right? Just by, being still, right? You can expand upon that. So that's a really good takeaway. Yeah. Any questions on breathing meditation or kind of anything we talked about so far? Otherwise, I'm gonna press on. If anything pops up, you can ask me. It's fine. It doesn't have to be like, your question doesn't have to be based on what I'm talking about. It could be anything. Okay. So, today, in the spirit of the month of December, we're going to talk about giving, like helping others through giving, right? So, do you find giving easy? It's an interesting question, right? You find like giving in general to be like an easy thing to do? Maybe the answer is like sometimes, right? Sometimes not. Sometimes it's actually very difficult, right? We have to really like push ourselves to give or like help, right? Other people, right? It doesn't always come naturally, right? It doesn't feel like it always comes naturally, right? And if we think about what we talked about last week with gratitude, and those that we weren't here, we did a whole video on gratitude. If we think about what we talked about, how gratitude is when we recognize the importance of somebody, right? Recognize the kindness that they have been bringing to our lives, the importance they bring to our lives, and then we have this wish to kind of repay that kindness, right? Well, then giving becomes kind of easy, doesn't it? Right? If we fully recognize how important someone is to our life, well, then giving seems to get easier, right? It seems to get easier. Right? I used to find giving easy when I had little. Now that I have more, it's harder. What an interesting takeaway, an interesting thought, Sheeta. It's brilliant, right? Very interesting. That's an interesting thing to meditate on. Why is that? I wonder why that is, right? Something you can think about, a little personal project. Yes, I get a lot of fulfillment from it, especially from making people feel good from it. Yeah, well, that's one of the like the cool things about giving is like, even if it doesn't come naturally to us, like when we do it and we have a true intention of helping, it feels good. You benefit from helping other people, right? You feel good. Isn't you feeling good, right? So it was a nice like two-way beneficial street of giving. But sometimes it's not so easy, and we've all been there, right? And going back to what we talked about last week, where we have this kind of like internal tier system, right? Where like, our family and friends are really important, acquaintances are like kind of less important, and then like strangers and like all the other people in the world are like not really that important, right? There's nothing wrong with us. That's just kind of like how it's like ingrained in us to kind of think, right? And we tried through our meditation we did last time to bring some of the kind of tier 3 strangers, grocery store clerks and things like that closer to our like friends and family, right? Because in general, we find it easier to help, give to those that we think are very important to us, right? Like if your best friend in the whole world, is like, hey, could I have $1? You'd be like, yeah, here. $2? $5? Here, right? But if like a stranger asks you for $1, it's like, I don't know about that, Right? So it's different, right? Like our response is different. Our response in giving is different depending on who is the recipient, right? So if you didn't catch the gratitude class last week, I would recommend going and see that because these are very closely related. They are. So when we're talking about ways we can give, right? The first one that always pops up is giving resources, right? This is often one of the more difficult ones to do. Like Tashita, you were saying like you find it harder now that you have more, right? More resources. It's harder to give, right? So giving resources is a very common one. Be it money or like clothes or anything. That's all resources, right? And this can be a very powerful way of giving, helping others who do not have these things, right? But sometimes we like hesitate, maybe we pass by somebody on the street who's homeless and they're asking for money and we're like, I don't know, it's not naturally like, yeah, here. We're like, no, this is my money, I earned it. That's a common thing we say, right? And like we can think about going back to our kind of gratitude practice. Well, yeah, it's ours, but like who else has been responsible for you having that money, right? Like your employer hired you. They hired you over countless other people. They hired you because you had the best skills, and the skills that you needed to be the best candidate to get the job, to earn the money, were taught to you by teachers and people on TV and like, all these different people that you don't think about or even really don't even remember were a part of making you have those resources, right? So isn't it nice to kind of like pay it forward a little bit to help others, just as others have helped you in the past, right? And then sometimes think like, I can't give everything away. And like, no, you're not supposed to like give away all your resources. In fact, the goal of giving and helping others is to help as many other people as possible. If we give all our resources to one person, well, then we have nothing else to give to the rest of the people. And a lot of people could benefit from our help, right? And even if you were to give away all your resources, well, then you don't have anything. And then you're not going to be able to help other people because you're now in trouble, right? So it's kind of like a balance. We got to find like a balance of, are we able to give resources, right? And in this time, particularly, with COVID and everything, we might not be able to do that, right? We might not be able to do that. Hold on, let me catch up. I would trust more the intentions of a friend asking me for money than a stranger. Why? Our natural inclination is that the stranger is lying. Why? That's an interesting thing to meditate on, right? Do we know that they're going to do something bad with it, right? Do we know that our friend's not going to do something bad with it? And even that, like, we can't possibly know that. We can't possibly know our best friend's intentions. We can't possibly know the intentions of a stranger, but we can go in there and assume good, right? There might not be a basis for us to really assume that they might do something bad with it. Or like, maybe the thing that they think is bad is the thing that we think is bad is to them is good. I don't know. Like, got to trust that people are being true to some extent, right? We have to like be careful there, but that's a very common thing, right? That's one of our main hesitations. Like, I don't trust this person, but why, right? Why is a really interesting question to ask. I think it's a matter of trust. You built up with someone close. Yes, we're very close with our family. We're very close with our friends, but we can be close with strangers. And in fact, thinking about how beneficial how beneficial strangers are to us helps us feel close to them, right? Like, the house, we used this example last time, the house that we wake up in, our kind of our bed where we like lay our head and rest, like all these things, the mattress, the fabric, the house, the tools used to make them, all made by other people, strangers, people you don't know, right? They were very kind to build this thing that you now enjoy, right? So we can feel close to them by thinking in that way, right? There's no limit to how our mind can feel close to people, right? But that's a very good thing to think about, right? This is what meditation is all about. It's about thinking deeper, right, about these things, right? About these things. You worry sometimes that the money will go to drugs or alcohol, which maybe increases misery. You want to know that the money will actually do good. Unfortunately, I don't know that you can know that, right? But a lot of those people who need help and genuinely want to do good with it, right? Hopefully. You have to trust knowing you're helping them. Yeah, it's a hard thing to get by. It's a hard hurdle to jump over, to trust that they have good intentions. And honestly, you're doing your part and they have to do their part too, right? A little two-way street. But very good. Great questions. Thank you. Love it. But giving resources, while it may feel like the most common, and maybe it is the most common, it's not the only way that we can give, right? What about giving time? Can you give time? Here's a good one for maybe you don't trust that the person will do something with the money, right? You don't feel comfortable doing that. Can you give time to them? Listening to them, talking to them, that's giving your time, right? Volunteering, giving time, formally or informally, helping somebody move is a form of giving time, right? Or being there for other people is a form of giving time, right? Oh my God, there's some great stuff here today. Most people ask look like they need help. So assume that they do need help. Yeah. I mean, that's a good way of looking at it, right? We can't really know, but I feel like trying to help somebody is better than assuming that they have ill intentions, right? I feel like trust is something you build. I don't trust strangers per se, but I wouldn't think they mean bad. It's just more easy to trust someone you know. Yes, absolutely. Of course. That makes total sense, right? And so it takes extra effort on our part to trust strangers. And one way to feel close to strangers is what I was talking about before with the gratitude practice. Thinking about how many strangers benefit you on a daily basis that you don't think about, right? Like a piece of fruit in your hand, like thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people made that piece of fruit possibly to be in your hand. They're all strangers to you, right? Right? So we can like feel close to others and want to benefit others and be compassionate to others, even if they're not like even if we don't have a long-term relationship with them, right? That's something we have to think about if that's something we want. Maybe you don't think that's beneficial and then you don't do that, right? That's up to you. So giving time, right? Giving time is a really good way to help. If you don't have resources, you don't feel comfortable giving resources, that's fine. You can give time, right? Give time to other people. But maybe you're saying like, oh, I don't have time, right? We say that sometimes, like, I don't have time. I'm too busy, right? What about all the people who have taken time out of their day to help you, right? Out of your whole life. Like countless, people have dedicated time to either make things or do things or teach things to you that you benefit from, right? Good to repay giving time right back. Mindy, donating blood. That's a very good one. It's a beautiful way of giving. Beautiful way of giving, right? I was going to say an unlimited resource, but I don't know if that's true. Or maybe eventually we'd run out. I don't know. Joseph, kindness to others is needed now more than ever. Yeah, I mean, kindness to others is everything, right? That's if we've truly felt compassionate, to everybody, right? There'd be a lot less issues, right? I mean, put people in different categories, right? I would give time to anyone in need. My door is always open. See, Justin, this is a very good thing to realize, right? So we might struggle with giving resources, right? Like you were saying, like maybe I don't trust them, blah, maybe I don't know what they're going to do, but you feel more comfortable giving time. So give time, right? That's fine. It's fine. And actually giving time arguably is even more important, right? I'm a big sci-fi fan. I love sci-fi. And one of my favorite authors, in one of his books, he wrote, "Time is our total capital," which I love that. It's amazing. But isn't it true? Like, isn't time the most valuable resource you have? Right? We always I wish I had more time. It's the most valuable resource, right? So giving that time to somebody else, whether it's volunteering or helping a friend, helping a stranger, somebody falls, helping them get up, that's giving them time out of your day to help them get up. That is a really wonderful way of giving back. You can give to animals also. Walking dogs and socializing cats at the shelter. Samantha, beautiful. Yes. We're not just, we focus a lot on humans here, right? But animals are extremely important too. All living beings, right? That's a very good way of giving, helping animals. Thank you for that. It's beautiful. But similar to resources, like we can't give away all our time. If we give all our time away to one person, well, guess what? Now we don't have any time to help other people, right? Or if we give all of our time away, we don't have any time for ourselves, well, then maybe now we're like mentally feeling incapable of being available for people, right? So it's important to find the balance of giving time. Mindy, homeless, appreciate a smile and a conversation, feeling human. Yes, I did a whole story about how one of my, like, it's literally the most impactful thing that's happened to me in New York. This homeless man that I started a wonderful friendship with, right? Just by giving him time. It started with me giving him a resource, $1 or whatever, but then I gave him time. And the giving time is what really blossomed our relationship. Steve, yes, Steve. Oh, God, I wish I could get in touch with Steve. But I have a feeling he's doing well. But yeah, giving time is arguably more powerful, right? So maybe we don't have a lot of time. There are situations people are in where they just don't have a lot of time to like do stuff. We have 3 jobs to make ends meet. Make ends meet. We don't have a lot of time, right? So maybe we don't have a lot of resources. We don't have a lot of time. Is there anything else that we can give? Right. The third thing we'll talk about, giving love. Right. What does that mean? So we might think that's the old T's and P's, right? Thoughts and prayers, like, oh, thinking of you. And we're just like gonna go on. That's not giving love, right? Giving love, at least I like to define it, is actively bettering ourselves for the benefit of other people, right? What you're doing here right now, right? Meditating, learning how to meditate, learning how to calm your mind, thinking about gratitude, thinking about ways you can help other people. This is giving love, right? You are familiarizing, there's that word, familiarizing your mind with how to be kinder to others, right? The importance of being kind, right? And so by doing this, by making your mind familiar with these concepts, what happens? Kindness comes more naturally. We find different opportunities, more opportunities to be kind. Shanza, are these going to be available later on for watching? Yes, all of these are available on my YouTube channel. This one won't be available until tomorrow morning, like 24 hours. But yes, pre-COVID used to give free hugs to strangers. It was great. That's an amazingly beautiful thing to do, Mindy. I hope we get back to a point where we can do that, right? So, why is giving love so important, right? We might think it's not. One of the reasons why giving love is so important is because giving love is limitless, right? We have limited resources, right? We have limited time. But because giving love, bettering ourselves, it has a lot to do with our mind, a lot to do with mental actions, training our mind. it's limitless what we can do with it, what we can accomplish with it, right? Gratitude, yes. Sounds great, amazing. So you might think like, oh, mental actions are not important, right? It's a common thing, right? But mental actions are like the catalyst for all forms of giving, if we think about it logically, right? So anything you do, walking, talking, smiling to a stranger, helping somebody up if they fall, giving them money, giving them all these things, right? Before you can do any of it, what has to happen? You have to have the thought, do this, think this, say this, right? Without the mental component, there is no act of kindness, right? Mental action precedes physical actions necessarily. Otherwise, you just be like a vegetable, right? So it's the catalyst for all forms of giving. So it's really important to train in this to make our mind more familiar with going there. Our mind has to go there for it to do it, right? If our mind never makes it to the point of like, you know what, I should help this person, well, then we're not going to help them. We're not going to give, right? And giving love, the practice of bettering ourselves, making ourselves familiar with kindness, right? The importance of kindness and the importance of other people and being able to relax so we're available to other people. All this is giving love. Doing that helps make our physical acts of kindness more genuine, right? So, maybe you've witnessed, or we ourselves, I'm sure, have performed some physical acts of kindness that didn't really have it was kind of like a disingenuous mental action to it, right? Like maybe you're walking down the street with your boss and you see somebody who is in need of money or something, and you're like, I should give them $1. I'll look pretty good, right? Well, like you're giving them the $1, that's cool, but like the mental action, the intention behind it is a little murky, right? It's not really it's not really totally for their benefit. Your body's going there, but your mind is somewhere else, right? We want to kind of get them matched. We want to get the body and mind like on the same path, right? Or giving time is another good example. Like sometimes we give our time, but we feel like obligated to do it. Oh, I gotta help Aunt Julie with this thing. Ugh, we do it. We don't want to be there. We don't want to help her, but we're doing it where we don't want to help her, right? So they're not matching. The mind and the physical actions are not matching, right? Or if you're listening to someone, right? Someone's telling you something. Are you paying attention? Are you paying attention when someone's telling you their problems? Or are you like paying attention and you're like kind of thinking about something else? I did that. We all do that. So we have to try to get our mind motivated to help. That way our help is filled with good intentions, right? True intentions to help. Rose, sometimes people just need someone to listen to, lending an ear without advice or any judgment. Listen with equanimity. Yes, like just being there. And that's an amazing example of giving time. You don't even have to say anything, right? You don't have to give them the answer to the problem. Being there, donating your time to them is a beautiful way of helping, a beautiful way of giving. Thank you, Rose. It was really nice. Thank you. So like, as long as our intentions are kind of murky, kindness will not really come naturally to us, right? And that's what this is all about. So this whole class talk is about, right? Familiarizing our mind with the different ways we can help, the importance of doing so. That way our mind naturally wants to go there and we can benefit more people, right? We could start to make a difference. We can start to make a difference in a lot of people's lives. Maybe we don't have the resources. Maybe we don't have the time, but all of us can give love. All of us can make a promise to take time to meditate on, think about, work on being more calm, more available to other people, kinder, thinking of other people, so we can benefit, be there for other people. We all can do that, right? Cool. All right, let's do a meditation on this. I know I'm like going long. I'm talking a lot. Okay. We're going to do a meditation on giving, helping. Okay? Any questions on this before we do that? If not, I'll be here after. A lot of really great comments and discussion today. Thank you for that. It's really awesome. That's what this is all about. It's about thinking about these things. Meditation is about thinking outside the box, thinking in new ways to try to benefit other people, right? Helping our kind of internal stuff so we can help others externally, right? Great. Okay. So we're going to start this the same way we did before, just a simple breathing meditation. And then I'll guide us through what's kind of formally known as a contemplation. Essentially just kind of listen and see if anything is jumping out at you is interesting, right? Cow either. That's something I found very helpful to people online in some communities I'm in. Just like being there, right? Just being there and listening. That's a really beautiful thing to do. You're donating your time, and time is valuable. So kudos to you. Okay. Sit in a nice, relaxed, comfortable position. And you can go ahead and close your eyes once again. We're going to do a breathing meditation. And then a contemplation on giving, helping. Okay? So let's just check in once again. How are you feeling now? Better? Worse? The same? Doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you notice. Notice what your mind is doing. We're practicing mindfulness. And having checked in, you can turn your attention once again to your breathing in and out of your nose, very gently, very naturally. In and out. Follow your full breath in. Follow your full breath out. Allow yourself to relax as you breathe gently in and out through your nose. Just check in with yourself. Where is your attention? Is it still on your breathing? If not, gently guide it back. Guide your attention back to enjoying breathing in and enjoying breathing out. Very gently, very naturally. As you begin to relax, you may start to notice some things about your breathing that you hadn't noticed before. Some sensations of breathing. How the air feels cool at the tip of your nose as you breathe in and warmer as you breathe out. Your shoulders rising and falling with each breath. You're beginning to notice some subtle joys in breathing itself. You're beginning to enjoy breathing. You are meditating. You are training your mind. Training your mind to relax, to be calm, to be familiar with peacefulness. And you're doing it all on your own, with nothing other than your breath. How wonderful. So after breathing in this way for a little while, maybe we feel a little more relaxed, a little more calm. We can use this relaxed state to investigate something, to learn. Today we're going to look at, investigate the importance of giving and how we can help others. So just follow along with what I'm saying. Everything that we have done or do or have, it comes from other people. Our house, our bed, our food, our skills. It all comes from others. Other people built your house, other people built your bed, other people taught you the skills that you need to succeed. Others are very important. And a lot of these people we've never met. But that doesn't make them any less important. When we realize the importance of someone in our life, we naturally want to benefit them. We naturally want to give back as they have given to us. Maybe we give resources, right? Money or clothes. That can be very helpful, very beautiful. But maybe we don't have a lot of resources to give. That's okay. There are other ways we can benefit other people. Besides giving resources, we can give our time. You can volunteer. You can help. You can listen, be there for somebody who is in need. A smile, a hug, a quick conversation. Giving time is a beautiful way of helping other people. Maybe we're busy and we don't have a lot of time to give. That is okay too. Because if we can't give resources, if we can't give time, we can always give love. Giving love is all about bettering ourselves for the benefit of other people. Meditating on, contemplating the importance of kindness, patience, rejoicing in others' good fortune, being there. Familiarizing our mind with kindness and the importance of helping is, without a question, the most important thing we can give. because it is necessary for all other forms of giving. If our mind does not go to a place that wants to help, we will not help. And so by you being here today, tonight, thinking about kindness, helping others, meditating, learning how to keep a calm, peaceful mind so that you can be available to other people, that is giving love. You are giving love. You are benefiting other people. How wonderful. How wonderful that giving love is limitless. So just think about that for a little while. Think about ways you can help other people. Think about how much other people have helped you. And see if there's a wish to repay that kindness. Okay, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Oh, Cow Ether, I missed your message. The idea of sending a virtual hug. I love that. That's great. Oh, Felicia, bye. Thanks for coming. Always great having you here. Glad you enjoyed it. So that was like a breathing meditation / contemplation. So like that's what would be considered a full meditation, right? So meditation isn't just about like clearing away all the distractions and then just like going about our day. It's like clearing away the distractions and then like using our clear mind to investigate something, to learn, because we learn better when our mind is clear, right? So the meditation is like a two-parter, right? Relaxing through breathing meditation, and then using that relaxed mind to look at something. You can look at anything you want. Anxiety, we talk about being more productive. I think we're going to do some stuff on being more productive coming up for New Year's, like New Year's resolutions stuff. But anyway, this is kind of like a full round of meditation. So hopefully you found that to be enjoyable. And look, it's a lot of information, especially if you're new. It's a lot to take in. So just be patient with yourself and think about this stuff. You just being here thinking about it is amazing, right? It's amazing. So congratulate yourself for doing that. Giving recognition. Ooh, what a good one. I often tell people something about them I notice that is special, unique, positive. I discover people don't often get that. Giving recognition is a beautiful way of benefiting other people, right? It's kind of like really I would categorize it as giving time, right? You're taking time out of your day to stop, to recognize something, to compliment them. You're taking time to notice the things that are good. Like sometimes we just like I don't have time to even notice these things, right? They just go right over our head. So it's a really, really wonderful example of giving time. And also giving love, right? Because our mind, and this is why the giving love part is so important. Your mind has to want to benefit those people you're giving recognition to. Otherwise, you're not going to be inclined to give recognition to them. It's very simple, right? Mental action precedes the physical action, the verbal action of recognition, complimenting. Really good one. Thank you. Any other questions on this before we part ways for a week? I feel like I never use enough, Justin says, I feel like I never use enough time to be really appreciative of the people and things around me. Meditation allows me to take some time to do that. That was awesome. Thanks. That is a wonderful takeaway. That is the takeaway from this, right? This is how meditation can help you with gratitude, right? Taking the time to think about all the different people that have made your life possible, all the things you have and will have possible, right? If you familiarize your mind with that, we naturally want to help them. We naturally want to give back, right? Justin, that's wonderful. Thank you for that. Really great. So if you did enjoy today, thank you. I'm glad you did. We do these every Wednesday, though December 16th, I will not be here. I'm moving to a different little spot. So I will have to cancel that week's, but I usually nail every week if I can. Ooh, good question. Stop everything. Catwather asks, how often, how long, and when is it good to try to meditate? The answer for all of the above is whatever you can commit to, right? So how often? What can you do regularly? This is what we're trying to get. We're trying to build a routine. Joseph, thank you. I appreciate that. I know I went overtime and you guys got to go. So if you got to go, thank you. Thank you for being here. It's always nice to have you guys here. So like how often should you meditate? Really, whatever you can commit to on a consistent basis. If it's 30 seconds in the morning, every morning, brilliant. 30 seconds in the morning every morning is way better than like 2 hours once a month, right? So for how often, what can you commit to? Like, be honest with yourself. Like, there's no like right or wrong answer. Just be honest with yourself about what will work for you. How many days? Like, how long too? Like, I wouldn't go over 5 minutes if you're just starting. I wouldn't, because you might feel burnt out, and we want to build a habit. Familiarization comes from habit, doing things repetitively, right? So we have to build this into a routine. So think about it similar to exercise. Yes, exactly. Meditation is exercise for your mind, right? Running and rowing and all that other great stuff is exercise for your body. And meditation is exercise for your mind. So we treat it the same way, right? Good question. Okay. I do these every week, so come back. It's always nice having you here. I love having you all here. So come on back. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's just one click from you, and it'll let you know when I'm going live in case you forget, because we are busy. Sometimes we can't give time. We're busy. The videos will be available too if you can't make it to the live session, of course. So you can always check in on that. And I do private instruction, and I do corporate events. So if any of that's interesting to you, like the private instruction, which is really good for focusing on specific issues you might be having, hold on, I'll put my email so you can email me. Just email me and we'll find a time that's good. There. So if you're interested in any of that, private instruction or doing something with work, right? We can do that. I can kind of work within your parameters. So just email me. Or if you have a question about anything, just email me. Toshida, did you say you're away next week? No. The week after. I'm here next week. The week after I'm away. Rebecca, I didn't know meditation comes in various forms. It does. Yes. I haven't studied meditation before. It's interesting that there's so many forms. Yes, there are so many forms of meditation. Really, they're all kind of getting at the same thing, right? They're trying to get you to kind of regain control of your thoughts. Right now, our thoughts are pulling us in direction to direction, and we're just kind of along for the ride. So meditation is a way of starting to be able to kind of dictate where your mind is at any given moment. So if you want to focus on breathing, you can do that. If you want to focus on your project at work, you can do that, right? It's a way of letting you choose where you want your mind to be. Steve, thank you for always being here. Crystal, thanks to you for always being here. Another great week. It's another great week with you guys. You're the best. All right. Love y'all. That's it for me. Have a great week. I'll see you next Wednesday. Okay? Thanks.